Hello again, my MMA true believers. I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I am joined by a true blue chip prospect in the UFC's light heavyweight division. This former Cage Warriors champ will return to the octagon October 17th after being the first Lithuanian-born fighter to win in the UFC. This man's making history already. It's only one fight in. And that man facing Jimmy Crute on Fight Island is the man they know as the Baltic Gladiator, a.k.a. Modestas Bukauskas. Mr. Gladiator, sir, thanks for the time to talk the Octagon return.
Yeah, no worries, brother. Always love talking to you.
So before we talk about this really interesting matchup you got coming up with Jimmy, I wanted to go back to your debut because it ended in a really weird way. You were defending a takedown, started landing some elbows on Andreas because of like the grappling you guys, trying to defend and all this kind of stuff. While throwing the elbows, you kind of land some that maybe look borderline in the back of the head, but nothing blatant whatsoever. The ref is checking him after the bell rings. Terrible luck. The door opens. He falls through it, and the fight ends for him. When you landed those elbows, did you feel kind of like a change in it, like his resistance level, like a loosening and stuff, like he was hurt? And as much as it might have been questioned, did you feel the proof was in how hurt he was? Because he really didn't argue when the referee stopped the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of speculation after the fight. A lot of people talking, saying loads of different stupid things. But to be honest with you, yeah, like I say, you couldn't be any more blatant how clean that sort of finish was. If the guy's not, standing up, getting ready to go to the next round, then why is he sitting there? Do you know what I mean? Then clearly he's not ready to fight. When he went in for the takedown, I had the appropriate mechanics in order to stop the takedown. I had an overhook on one side, I had an underhook on the other side. So I could have easily just let it coast to the next round. And that's pretty much what I was thinking to do. Just stop the takedown, not let him catch it on me, keep my legs wide. And then, we're going on to the second round, whoop-de-doo. But then all I hear, and obviously everything gets amplified, the fact that there's no fans and everything. My dad just goes, elbows. And the next thing I was like, oh yeah, well, this is like really open here. His head's right here. I'm going for it. And after the first shot, he already stumbled to the floor. So he was on his feet. That first elbow, you see it clearly on the video, went straight to his knee. So already the first one hurt him. Yeah. And then I had about 6 seconds to land as many elbows as I could to try and hurt him as much as possible, leading into the next round. So obviously I was just going for it, and every single shot I was landing, it was right to the side of the head. I know they're saying, oh yeah, it could have been borderline, but it's like literally a thin strip at the back of the head where there's a shot if it would be an illegal blow. And borderline or not, the point is borderline. It hit the shot on the target, and there was no problem with it. So even when you saw afterwards up on the screen, I even saw it myself. The guy's head was like red here, and that's a legal blow. We went through it in the referee, Dan Moverheady, excellent referee. Again, he went through it with me in the changing room beforehand, and he was there. Like, a lot of people were questioning, oh, why don't you do an instant replay, this, that? And I'm like, the guy was right there in the cage. Everyone else is seeing it from a different perspective. He's standing right there, right next to us. He can see it clear as day. So I'm going to take his judgment on that one. So and like you said, I wasn't aiming at all for the back of the head, and I was aiming for that spot. I had a finish in my previous performance in before that in Cage Warriors, so I knew exactly what I was doing.
In our last conversation, we talked a good bit about your relationship with your father and taking this journey with him, and just your career and this specifically the UFC debut. Now, with that UFC debut in the rear view and time to reflect on all of it, what was the experience like to do it with him? Because this wasn't just a UFC fight. It was during a pandemic on a friggin' private island in the Middle East. Like, this is a unique situation. Was it that sort of experience that really you're still talking about even to this day? And even though you're about to do it again in a couple of weeks, it ain't really going to be the same?
Yeah, do you know what? There's just a lot of excitement now. Obviously, with us being able to do it again, it's like you're almost having a bit of a deja vu. We're doing the same, but now we're just a little bit more educated on what's going to happen. Like before, we sort of really didn't know what to expect. Obviously, it was an insane experience. We're like, oh, now everything that we're seeing on the videos, like the promos, has all come into life and stuff like that. But yeah, it's amazing. It was great that we were in the same hotel room when we got to Abu Dhabi, so we could do the pads and everything whilst we were having to quarantine, and we're just able to chill out, hang out with each other. I had to deal with a couple of different things, such as my knee being blown up, prior to the fight, and then it then got infected for like 1 or 2 days, and then it went down. So I had a lot of crazy other things, but it's good having my dad. He was always there, sort of giving me good encouragement, always giving me good point, and his energy. I just love his energy. I mean, listen, me and him, we flow really well. We connect on different levels, and obviously my other coaches as well, Denison and Danny. We just got really good relationships. But yeah, the energy my dad brings, like even on fight day, he's like, yeah, we're gonna go fuck this guy up, and you know what I mean. He's always given me really good words of encouragement and pumped me up in the right way. And because I'm his son, it's sort of we're living through each other, and I couldn't have had it any other way. Walking, and I said it in a birthday card one year. I said, listen, at this time next year, we're going to be walking to the UFC octagon together as father and son. And to actually see that happen, in real life, definitely meant a lot to me.
I actually spoke with Cal Eleanor last week, and he's another fighter based in England. He's going to be headlining the upcoming Bellator card in Milan, and I asked him about how this new wave and surge in COVID outbreaks all over Europe, and his thoughts on it, and about like British Prime Minister Boris Johnson recently saying this is some perilous times in the UK with a new outbreak possibly happening in spots. How are you about making sure you can make it, to fight night COVID free? We've already seen a bunch of fights, derailed because of COVID positives. Like, does your gym do like testing every other day or something, kind of active stuff? Are you just doing testing every few days just to be on a safe side? Like, what are you doing to make sure this thing doesn't cost you money and a fight?
Yeah, it's a really sort of really weird, strange time at the minute in the UK, especially with COVID testing. They're not allowing anyone to get COVID tests anymore.
Oh, wow.
They're reining that in. I'm pretty sure it's only like via the NHS and stuff like that, or if you've got symptoms. So if you haven't got symptoms, and like it's like restrict certain people. So realistically, I can't actually go and get any sort of test. The only test that I'm able to get is the one that's being scheduled by the UFC, which I have to go and do on Wednesday.
Okay.
Which is just part of protocol, like the pre sort of test before we go and do the whole quarantine here and stuff like that. But aside from that, I mean, I'm not really doing anything different. The only thing is that obviously I ask for honesty and transparency with my teammates, just to say, listen, are you have you got any symptoms? Do you feel anything? Is anything, and I tell them, listen, if you got anything bad, we're just don't go anywhere near me. And they understand, they as much as I can understand, they want to be around me because, I'm just such a cool guy. Obviously.
Of course.
I'm only messing.
Let's talk about this fight now with Jimmy Crute coming up. He's a good, well-rounded fighter. He will play on the ground if he has to. He's just fine standing up. He's got a good amount of finishes during his career. You are an accomplished fighter as a former Cage Warriors champion, but at this level, you're still viewed as a prospect because you still only have a certain amount of fights. Granted, a very good prospect. Now, what part of Jimmy's game do you feel will be like a new challenge, a new puzzle to solve that you maybe haven't tasted yet in your first 13 fights, or is he not bringing something you haven't seen before?
Well, he is definitely the most all-rounded fighter that I'll be fighting. Definitely the toughest competitor. As I said, I always want to step up in competition, and I've got exactly that.
Yeah.
No one wanted to fight him. No one in the top 15 wanted to step into the cage with this man, and it's understandable. He's very tough. He's very young. He's younger than me even, and I thought I was the young lad coming in. And now, he's beating me in that certain respect. Being the younger man, but. So he's got more athleticism than probably other opponents, and like I say, he's just more well-rounded. He's good on the stand-up, good on the floor, and good in wrestling. But then again, so am I. So these are things that, again, it's like, he's a very tough competitor, and I give him the utmost respect. And it's great to sort of see that both of us willing and able, signed the contract, got the job done. That's how the fight game's supposed to work. You're supposed to get fight guys that you want to fight and go and prove yourself. That's exactly what I'm gonna go and do. Do you know what I mean? He wants to prove himself. I'm going to prove myself. He brings a lot to the table, but again, it's nothing that I haven't seen before. There's things that he's probably haven't seen before in my striking. Then he's going to think the same thing about me, not seeing stuff with him and making our own adjustments and improvements. But from the way it seems, this is something that I'm going to definitely be able to deal with. I'm going to be able to overcome, and I'm going to be able to go and get the job done and get the finish. So that is all that's on my mind, and that's all I'm going in there to do.
Now, you will have a 5.5-inch reach on him going into this fight. How much will that physical advantage play into this? Is the crux of the strategy keep that distance, work the long-range striking game, turn him into a kickboxer, and not let him use, his well-rounded skill set that you mentioned earlier? Is that reach a key factor that you're looking forward to in this fight?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to everything with this fight. I feel like I'm gonna throw a few spanners in the works. As I say, even on my striking, people think that I've reached a level where I can't improve anymore. I can't go any further in that, and they're going to be horrendously mistaken, especially when they're going to see me in the cage on my next fight. I'm going to be bringing loads of different things in there, and of course, yeah, having a reach advantage is definitely going to help, especially for me to be able to keep him away if I need to. But yeah, like I say, there's going to be certain things that I'm going to apply in my game plan, and they're all going to be used in order to take out my opponent, and so that's exactly what I'm going to go out and do.
A big story in the UFC the last couple of months has been Khamzat Chimaev and his wild schedule. In a little over 3 months, he's had 3 fights, won all 3 pretty dominantly, and is in line to probably get another fight in October. What are your thoughts on all of that? Are you at all bothered? They seem to be prioritizing his bookings when other guys have issues getting fights in the UFC. Do you maybe admire it? You're another fresh face in the promotion, just like him, digging like, damn, he could do it. Maybe I can do it. And is that kind of schedule? Would you like that kind of schedule, or he just proves everybody does this kind of different? That works for Khamzat. That's not really going to be my kind of thing.
I mean, I absolutely love that. If I could do the same thing, I would definitely love to do so. It's already in my mind. I wanna have a big performance and a big win. I would like to fight at the end of the year as well, providing no injuries or anything like that. So, I mean, I admire, obviously, the fact that, he wants to go in there and just fight all the time, just such as Dana White is. But at the same time, obviously, giving a guy a quick turnaround after 10. But this is the thing. Maybe no other fighters are asking for it. This is the thing. This is where it comes into it. Okay, he's getting pushed up, in front of the line and stuff like that. But I bet you it's because no one else on the roster wants to do that thing anyways. He's probably the only guy that's really shooting for it, calling for it, and he's putting on the impressive performances to go along with it. So you got to give the guy credit. I mean, people are doubting him and saying things, and he's going out there and proving everyone wrong, and he's going out there and doing exactly what he said. So you can't really say anything else other than, well, okay, you got to give him what he wants if he keeps performing. Some fighters like to take breaks in between. Some fighters, have got injuries they need to take care of, and they can't fight. But in my mindset, of course, if I've got no injuries and I'm able to, this is why as soon as I finished my last fight, I'm like, I want to go and fight again. So I've got something rescheduled and talk to my manager, and we got it done. Sometimes, fighters don't want to fight, or, they ask for an opponent and then the other person doesn't want to fight. Sometimes negotiations are actually quite hard to do. And because he's quite fresh, it's probably a lot easier for him at the minute to get those negotiations all sorted. And there's so many different factors that go into it. So I admire that he's able to do it. At the same time, obviously, I feel everyone's probably going to feel a little bit salty that he's getting pushed to the front of the queue. But at the same time, if he's really shouting for it, asking it, putting on the performances, then you've got to kind of give it to him. So, now it's down to me to go in, put in an impressive performance so that I can go and get what I want. And, the other fighters in the roster may not want fight. That's why you see a lot of guys that are able to step in last minute that aren't from the UFC. You've got guys that are coming in from outside promotion because they're hungry. They want to get their shot at the UFC. Some guys might want to be like, oh, well, this is a bit dangerous to take this fight or this or that on such short notice and this and that. And everyone's entitled to their own opinions. But obviously, if you were asking me, would I like to have a similar schedule? Of course I would. If I'm not injured, I would love to fight all the time.
All right, so I like to end every interview now with a segment called what I call 5 for Fighters, where I'm going to give you 5 words, 5 names, phrases, topics, and I want you to give me like the first things that come to mind when I say these things. So, all right, first one, and we talked a little bit about this off air the last time I talked to you. Yas Island Heat.
So, heat stroke. I'd say probably an increased tan. That's what I'll be looking for when I go out there. When I walk to the beach this time, I ain't got no leg thing going on, no infections. I'm going to be going out there to try and increase my colour levels going on over here. I want to look good when I come back to London.
All right, next one. This one is meaningful. When you hear the phrase Lithuanian UFC champion, what do you think?
I mean, that's a dream come true. That'd be something that gives me the like to the height of patriotism. Like, you know what I mean? Like giving my home country something that's not been done before. Being like the poster boy, almost like lifting our flag up high. It just gives me a sense of patriotism. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to raise the flag and give us something to sort of be excited about. So,
is Jan Blachowicz what he just did? Do you look at that like, look, he did it, and he was only the second Polish UFC champion, first male. He did it at 39. Do you look at him like, damn, he's a great example of what can be done?
He is a Polish hero. I mean, I've got a lot of Polish training partners actually, and they're saying how he's now massive in the media. It's the same like young Jacek. Whenever she came through, he became champion. Everyone was all over it, and so it should be. It's understandable that if it's never been done before and it's the first time that it's been done, everyone's going to jump straight on that. And because there's so much support, all the homeland people want you to do well, and the media follow you and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I would love to be able to fly the flag and hold the belt at the same time.
All right, next one. Now, this is the geographic neighbor of Lithuania. And I'm curious because it's a big story, internationally, and it's a story kind of in a lot of places. When you hear the word Belarus, what's the first thing that come to mind?
I've heard there's some stuff going on there. I haven't really checked too much. I think the first thing I'll come to mind is neighbor, and I believe that's where my granddad was born.
All right, fair enough.
Those would be another first two. Oh, another thing as well. I believe as well, Andrei Arlovsky's from there.
Yes, that's true.
So that'll be another thing that comes to mind. Whatever.
All right, next one, and I hope I pronounce it right. When you hear the name Gintis Bukauskas, what are your first thoughts?
The angel on my shoulders, my idol, and another thing is just like I almost I want him to live vicariously through me. I want to give him the shot that he never had. So it's almost like we're living through each other, and I'm really happy about that. I can't wait for everything to come to fruition in my dreams and like all my goals and stuff like that. Doing it together as father and son, it's not often that it's done because like you see that a lot of father-son relationships get a little bit salty, or the same thing that it's never been like that with my dad. My dad has literally been my savior. If anything, my dad is my savior, and now I'm going to go and save him and give him the life that he's never had.
All right, last one, and this I'm throwing this out there because I know your original goal was to be in basketball. You came to the States, you were in college and everything like that. So now that it is set, 2020 NBA Finals champion. First thing that comes to your mind?
Lakers, man.